Where were you guys? In Florida? That's what I thought.
I want you to ask him the next time about what happened when the Ivy boys had to run into the Long Island boys.
Oh, he said he. Now what?
We tortured him.
Was he coaching?
What's that?
Talking to your mic.
Testing.
Okay, coach.
Test.
Mike.
Test, my man.
Okay.
We sound good?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So Jerry was coaching one of the teams, and on Joey's team, my son's team, was Coach Tillman, Justin Turry were the coaches of his team, and one of the Cornell assistants. So, and then Jerry was the head coach of his team with the Princeton assistant. So Tills and Justin Turry had to leave on Sunday because they were in season. So we get into the playoff round, and it was my brother Brian and I jumped on the sideline. So we're down, and our team wasn't very good. It was like Joey was on one end, Treps is on the other end, then we have like a bunch of mishmash. It was like a bunch of hardworking kids, but like they were way better than us. We're down 6-1, and we just start working the ref, Jerry's going crazy. He's on the field. We're like, give him a stick. Jerry, stop the break. So we wound up getting going, and we wound up winning. And he was like, it is absolutely, he's dead serious. Like, it's exhausting. It's absolutely he was like, so it was funny. So
Don't forget to share it to Beat by G.
How do I do that?
they're on the island this weekend.
Yeah. He said on the show. I don't know if he said it on the show or he said it off. They're going to the firehouse with his brother because his brother's a fireman. His dad was a fireman. And they're taking the whole Harvard team and they're going to cook them dinner.
That is cool.
Yeah, really cool. In Queens. I think Jackson Heights or somewhere in Queens. And he was we wanted to go and follow him around.
Yeah, that would be neat.
You get a bunch of Harvard kids in a firehouse in Queens. That's got to be a good little.
That would be pretty neat.
A good visual.
Yeah, they're playing Sunday at 10 a.m. so they can get back for the Super Bowl.
What are you playing, Stony Brook?
They're playing Stony Brook.
So I went to the BU Stony Brook. I like what I saw out of Stony Brook. I liked offensively what I saw.
Yeah, the face-off kid, 30, he's a transfer in. I think he's going to be good. The kid Renz, I think he's got a little something there because they struggle in the fall.
At the X?
Yeah. They went up,
so
but
big.
they also played Yale, who has a pretty good face-off guy
Their
or two.
Their second guy's fabulous.
Newman's really good too, like he's no joke. And then who was the other team they played up there? Maybe Providence or something. They've been doing a nice job on the island too. They've been getting a lot of island kids.
They get
Oh
good
my
kids.
God.
They're like
They got the kid Bell, who I love.
Yep.
I can't figure it out, Cliff. Well, Jerry asked us to ask Joe, like, literally, how do you have that much energy to ride the refs for an
That's
entire
the
game?
question he asked
said,
us.
"Where does it come from?" So I don't know how you can answer
Listen,
that.
we were undermanned. We had to do what we had to do.
Now you're from how many boys in your family? What's your
4.
Any girls?
4 of us. Yeah, my sister's the youngest one.
So it's 5.
Yeah,
And what's the ages? Give me you the oldest?
I'm the oldest, and then it goes Eric and Brian and Danny and my sister Sam. So Eric, Brian, and Danny all played at Hofstra.
And Danny's the coach who coaches at Rocky Point.
Danny coached at Rocky Point, but he actually he took the Miller Place job.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
so he lives in Miller Place, so he
Good.
wasn't taking that job. Eric coached at Uniondale, and then Brian does all his stuff.
So Eric coached at Union? Not anymore.
He just stopped, I think, like last year.
Oh,
yeah.
so he coached with a friend of ours.
Who's that?
We helped them with that program at the.
Oh, to get it off the gut.
What's Uniondale coach's name again, Corey?
Start with a B.
He lives in West
Sorry,
Islip.
which coach?
The Uniondale coach.
Hugo Charles?
Yeah, Hugo.
He's an East Islip guy.
No, West Islip, I think he lives.
No, he's East Islip.
Oh, East Islip?
Yeah. He's got a daughter and a son.
Hugo Charles is he coached women's at Uniondale?
No, he coached the boys team. Yeah.
Yeah, with Hugo.
Yep.
Yeah, a bunch of those kids. His brother. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they both teach there. Eric and Brian both teach there, Smith Street Elementary.
Ah, gotcha. Because there's Turtle Hook and then there's Smith Street.
Smith Street.
There's one other. No, there's just those two, I think.
Yeah, because we were very involved with Roosevelt and trying to develop the game in Roosevelt, and then we moved over to Uniondale because Hugo needed help, so we got involved with Hugo because he's a good guy. And
Yep.
The problem with Roosevelt is they have no history, so none of the dads want to get involved.
Yeah, it's tough.
You can't get them they don't want to.
hard
They
to
love the
sustain.
game,
Yeah.
but they don't want to learn the game.
Yep. That's the tough part, right?
That's why the Harlem thing is great.
Oh, it's incredible.
Have you seen those
It's
kids?
incredible. Yeah, and people putting their time in, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's the way it should be.
They approach it the right way for sure. They have like legit coaches, teachers, following up, making sure kids are going to class, like taking them to good
Ownership.
events.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, one of the kids who's going to be a success story. I'm praying for this kid. His name is Devon, and he's gone to everything, and he's a PG kid right now, and he just committed to Albany.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he's a sick athlete, and literally in 9th grade, he wasn't academically eligible to do anything, and they helped him.
He's got a love now, right? So it's got something to.
And the kid is such a wonderful young man.
I love that.
And his character basically was formed through the love of the game. It's so cool.
That
Talking
is
about
awesome.
Davon?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to Albany.
Yeah.
He's committed. Yeah.
That's legit.
Yeah, it's a good.
They have a
good
couple kids
success
at
story.
Hobart. They're starting LSM.
You got to come with us to the charity event. They run at Chelsea Piers.
Let me know. I would love to go.
It's
in
when
the fall.
do they run
Yeah.
that in the fall?
It's usually
Yeah,
like
come
the
with
third.
us. It's amazing.
Third Thursday in September.
Yeah.
It's such a great event.
Yeah, that
And
would
you
be-
know what would be cool? We could get your
2 minutes.
okay. After you win the national championship this year,
I'm in.
you get them to sign your helmet, your goalie's helmet, and then we put it on, and they raffled it off. They literally raised $200,000. You watch the money
Just
on the
climb.
screen. It's the
Yeah.
coolest thing. It's all on your phone.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good
I was
event.
actually always telling me, Rob was telling me, Pinnell's done a little bit of stuff with those
Yep.
guys.
He usually goes.
So him and Joey train like once a week.
Oh, nice.
So they just started to like pick it
Oh,
up.
Rob
again.
comes out.
Yeah, he comes out. He's in between apartments, so he's out on the island again, back in Smithtown.
Oh, perfect.
So he was actually we were chatting about that. He is.
That's a great mentor. Oh, he's a beast.
He's a great mentor for Joey too. It's
Yeah.
like similar style,
Yeah.
like Tonka trucks.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, similar build.
Very
good,
similar.
Physical and
Yeah.
it's good.
IQ.
It's funny, a
Robbie
lot-
had
a
one
lot
the
of kids-
best IQs.
Robbie's great.
A lot of kids like try to resemble and work on the moves that Rob Pinnell does, but like not everyone could just physically do
Physically
them,
do
you
it.
know? So like for a kid like Joey, he can. That's a good mentor.
Yeah, it's really
It's
good.
going to help his game.
Really good.
Yeah, I could see the very similar games.
I had video last week. It was just those two on the turf, full gear, just all 2-man stuff. I'm like, look at this. I'm like, this is pretty cool.
That's
Rob's awesome.
He's a good guy.
You getting ready, Corey?
Yeah, I don't think we're live on YouTube right now.
We are.
All right, let me.
It says in stream, so I'm live on YouTube. I
All
see
right,
it.
let me try to find that.
Coach Wayne's
Oh,
got his glasses on.
Never
so I can see
mind,
the
Cliff.
comments.
Sorry.
You're-
Corey, do you want me to do the open first, or do you talk first, then we do the open?
You could just do the open. We'll get right into it.
Okay.
And I'll give a quick shout out to our sponsors.
You want to do that after the opening, or?
I just texted Vasily. I said, "Joe's daughter's using your stick." He's super pumped up right now. He said, "Let's
She
roll."
does. She loves that.
He's in
He
Minnesota.
goes
Back in Minnesota already?
hashtag Panthers. Yeah,
That's quick. He was on a 4:30 flight. What time is it?
Okay,
3
here we
hours.
go.
7:30.
Run it.
All right, what's up, everyone? We're live tonight. Special guest Joe Spallina, head coach of the one of our favorite women's team out there, the Stony Brook Seawolves. Coach, how we doing tonight?
Excellent. Great to be here.
Awesome, man. Well, pleasure to have you. Before we get into it, we'll give a quick shout out to some of our presenting sponsors of our show. The Epic head and leadership was in the HQ today, James Vasily. So he's doing amazing things with his brand. Epic Lacrosse is not just a title sponsor of everything Long Island Lacrosse Journal, but also our show. And they got some really cool stuff in store for the Long Island lacrosse community that we're excited to dish out and share and talk about. So shout out to those guys over at Epic in the Midwest who are now coming east. And then also Crease Beast Goalie Training. Chris Gill does an incredible job working with some of the best goalies around the island. So he's a big supporter of the show and what we're doing here with the Long Island Lacrosse Journal. So without further ado, Coach, it's a treat having you on. I know it's a busy time. We appreciate you taking the time to come out and talk to us. You guys got your opener coming up with against Syracuse. How are you guys feeling kind of going into it?
It's a great place to start for us. I think that's the biggest thing with our conference and what we're doing is to play the strongest type of schedule that we could put together. And I guess there's a pretty good spot to start with the number 2 team in the country in Syracuse, so a team that returns a ton. But I love our squad. I think we have some great seniors, and one of the underrated parts of college athletics is the importance of seniors and just how they lead and they play with a little bit more urgency. We have a really strong senior class, so I like the way we're shaping up.
I agree with that. We talk about that a lot at the high school level. Like, I think it depends on how a team is run and like what your culture is. I think with you, one thing that we noticed just kind of following, whether it's your son's club team or if it's Stony Brook, you do a great job with the development aspect of like taking a girl who, was a really good high school player, and then all of a sudden she's a freshman, and it's like, okay, what's it like to be a freshman competing against other top sophomores, juniors, and seniors who have experience? I guess for you, kind of shed some light on that. Like, how are you able to take a girl's game to the next level over the course of 4 years when they enter college?
I think that's the fabric of our program. I think when I started at Stony Brook, we weren't getting, and we're still not getting, the top 50 or 100 of the rated recruits in the country.
Yeah.
So for us, it's been about development, player development. So the big thing is they're not coming in as that top 50 kid, but they're leaving as one of the top players in the country regardless. So to us that, we have, and we try to recruit kids with more questions than answers, kids that have a chip in their shoulder, love the game. That's the biggest thing. Like, what's the number one fact? Do they love it?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of kids that play it and they just don't play it with like they love it. If you get a kid who loves it, has a chip in their shoulder, loves to work and get better, that's the best part of coaching. You guys know it's like to be able to mold a kid and to show them they can do something they didn't think they could do, and no one believed that they could do it. A kid like Kylie O'Miller is it's the best example because she kind of came to us and was not one of the most highly touted players on her club team.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm sure her dream growing up, and she'll tell you, wasn't necessarily to go to Stony Brook per se, but we had a plan with her and she bought in fully, and we knew she loved the game. We knew she was super athletic. And she, morphed into this larger-than-life lacrosse star. And then the current version would be Allie Kennedy, a kid who was really under the radar as well, was not a kid who was a starter on her own club team, and came to us and has been a starter for every game that she's played at Stony Brook. She's a member of the U.S. Women's National Team now. And, she has an opportunity to leave as one of the most decorated players we've ever had. So, I think that's the biggest thing when you look at the kids. And we could stay for hours and just go through these kids that kind of come out of the woodwork.
Like Sammy DeSalva.
Oh, I love Sammy. Sammy Singles. That's what we say. She's played so simple, and she would always score 50 goals a season, and nobody knew where she was coming from. But she bought in on both ends, and kid played at Hewlett High School and kind of flew under the radar. And I think she was on the second or third, travel team in her, her club team, and she just, absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, just kept working. We talk about this, and we love to see the kids at the high school level who are kind of like getting there right before they get to you, whether it's boys or girls. Like, hey, that kid loves it. He's playing at a different just level in terms of energy. We see with your own son, like, isn't Joey a great example of someone who, like, he's just kind of playing on a little bit of a different level? And I think it's like, we're not just talking athleticism and skill and IQ, because he has a lot of good things when it comes to that, but like just the energy level, like playing really fast, doing the little plays, the hustle plays. For you, like, how do you find that girl at the high school level and say, like, okay, maybe she's not the 5-star recruit, maybe she doesn't have all these things, but like, I can tell she loves it, I can tell she like wants to work at it. Like, what's going through your mind as you're kind of like looking at kids?
I think the first thing, like, for us, is you have to have faith in your ability to develop, and you got to see something that other people maybe don't see in a kid, because I think what happened, and been doing this a while, and you see all the coaches fighting over one or two kids, and for me, it's like, I want that kid who's staring at that kid like, man, I got it. I can do this. I'm better. I can raise my level to be, higher. And I always, Allie Kennedy's a great example, because we were, originally, she might just be an attackman, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, she's the fastest human I've seen here. And her stick's good, but like her speed is really good. So, so I think that those are you look for those intangibles, the kids making hustle plays everywhere. How do they celebrate with their teammates? Obviously there's the general checkpoints, how athletic they are, what their stick looks like. And that doesn't necessarily even scare me away, because like I'm a teacher of the game. Like I was a teacher before I was a coach. So, being a phys ed teacher. So that's the best part. So if it's there, you feel like you can get the most out of a kid. And it's funny, now we talk to club coaches and they're like, we have a Stony Brook kid. Like, we apparently have a type of kid, which I think is the coolest thing ever. I'm like, all right, good. Give me that kid. Like, that means that kid cares. That means that kid, is going to go after
like the
people.
Delacave kid?
Delacave is we're excited about her. And her, Delacave, our class next year is a true elite.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had them ranked number 2 on the island.
It's special.
And they were fighting Syracuse for that one.
Delicate, Hampel, who's
Hampel's phenomenal.
How about Ellie Massera?
and
How
then
about
Ellie.
Massera,
I was
too?
gonna go. I watched
Both
Ellie
those two?
play at Spooky Nook at the Inside Lacrosse
Yep.
Nationals.
Sure.
They had to lock her off. There were 2 people. I mean, she was just different.
She's sick.
And she reminds me a lot of Allie, where she's a fierce competitor. Like,
Yeah.
she gets that look in her eye, and it's on. That whole class, and we have a goalie coming in from Philly who's got some major swagger who we're pretty pumped about too. So that whole class, like we can go right through the whole thing, but that is like we look at that class as like, yeah, like, all right, that's an elite.
It's a big time class.
Yeah, it's an elite class.
I saw Hampel in 8th grade, and I came back to the office. Do you remember when I came back? Mm-hmm. And I said, "This girl's got shake.
Yep.
She's like a point guard." She was playing JV for West Islip. I was because we were running a showcase, and nobody was referring us 8th and 9th graders, and they were recruiting 8th and 9th graders.
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I going to find these 8th and 9th graders to come to the showcase? So I went to the JV West Islip Northport game. And Northport had moved up all their really good young girls because Carol does that.
Yeah.
But Nick Colosi left a few, and I mean, now they're all seniors and they're really good. But it's just funny how I knew that kid had shake.
And she's a junk baller. Like she goes and plays soccer, like just goes out there and like
Yeah.
wins the counties, and scores the winning goal. And like I think she had like 20 goals in a season. And she's just like,
Yeah, she's natural.
You were a soccer guy, I read.
I played soccer and lacrosse at Adelphi.
Yeah.
I went there to play just lacrosse, and then it was like that, the time of the year right after fall ball ends and soccer's, the fall sports are over. It's like a little dead period. Wound up just knocking the ball around with a couple guys, and Bob Montgomery, who works for the Red Bulls now. One of my college teammates at Adelphi is the head coach of the Red Bulls now.
Wow.
Chris Armis. He's a Long Island guy, went to Brentwood.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, I played 2 sports. Now it's tough to play 2 sports, but
Yeah, take us back a little further. Like talk about like where you grew up. When you first picked up a stick, who kind of introduced you to the game, and some of your influences.
Rocky Point High School. I was playing middle school soccer, and Mike Bowler, God rest his soul, one of the closest people. I'll get emotional even thinking about the guy because he was special to me, and he's a guy who just, was at my wedding, he was at my kid's christening, just a really, really special human.
Yeah.
And he was at there, and he's a principal, right? So we're playing soccer. I'm a 7th grade, and Rocky Point at the time was 7 through 12, and we're sitting in there, and the game's over, and he's like, "You, come over here." And Mike had a way, and now I knew he was messing with me. He pushes his glasses up, and he's like, "You're going to play lacrosse." I'm like, "So I'm not in trouble?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll play lacrosse." He's like, "Come see me tomorrow in my office." So I was never so excited to go to the principal's office. I had something to do. So he gave me a stick, and he's like, and he wound up taking the time and showing me how to throw with it and everything. But we were all big hockey players, me and my brothers. So we were like, all right, so like this is, so I don't have to look for the puck. It's in here already, and I got my head up like this. I'm like, this is great. So our transition was pretty smooth that way. And then the Ray brothers, who
Sure.
Gary Ray and I
yeah.
were high school teammates, and then we went on to play college together. And
They're
Gary and I
Rocky
were good
Point
friends.
guys, the Rays?
Yeah, yep.
Scotty, the AD?
So yeah, when I lived in Rocky Point, Scott lived across the street from us, and now Scott.
What
when
a
we
great
moved to
family
Mount
that
Sinai,
is.
now Scott's our AD.
Yeah.
So he's so Justin and Troy. This is actually pretty funny. I always say, people always ask me about like Joey's success and my twins' success. They used to knock on the door, Justin and Troy Ray, when they were at Albany and Rocky Point, and they'd be like, "We're playing fiddlesticks. Can the boys come over?" And then I'd be sending my boys over into like, who knows what was going on the other side of that fence. But I'm like, I'd be my wife's like, I'm like, yeah, all right, do with the Rays, they're fine. And they used to play fiddlestick for hours. My boys would come back, mud head to toe, and they'd come knocking on the door the next day.
What were they, like 5, 6, 7 years old?
Yeah, they were 5, 6, 7, yep, right straight through. We lived in Rocky Point for forever, and now it's funny they work out together after school with Justin and Troy. They're training, but it's like full
That's
circle.
awesome.
Pretty cool.
That's a lacrosse name. I mean, the Ray family, that's Coach Dunn was coached by a Ray at Wanta.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yep, that's Gary.
It's
Yeah.
Gary, yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. Real quick question just came in from Tom Brandell. He's a club operator down in Maryland. Great guy. He said, "What do you think of girls playing box lax, and how's it help the women's game?"
Well, my girls play, and they're really good. So I think it's tremendous because if you look at, especially in the younger ages, the amount of contact in playing box, it's a lot of cross-checking, and kids have to protect their stick, and they got to deal with contact, which is very similar to what's happening in the college game.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at that, up to this current season, my girls had played 2 years in a row of girls in boys tournaments. And like up to last year the girls didn't lose a game and playing in boys tournaments. And it ended, like our last game ended in a brawl with my girls, you know.
I heard that story. It's a
think
great story.
Of course, my daughter was in the middle of it, and I'm like, we got to get out of this before, you know, my boys are ready to climb the fence, and I'm like, it's relax, your sister started the whole thing, you know. So, but which is really cool. But you look at the skill development of our kids. Like we have a 2025 group that is special.
Oh.
Like, these kids are freakishly skilled, tough, and they play box. They can, every one of them understands and how to defend and how to operate in the 2-man with down picks and up picks. And Greg Michelli, my assistant coach at Stony Brook, he helps train him. He's a Canadian. He played a lot of box lacrosse. And he's my assistant now at Stony Brook. But the skill development and the toughness, I could not say enough. The shooting on the small goals, all the passing in tight quarters. You know, even up to last night, my daughter's a 7th grader at Mount Sinai, and she's up on varsity. And, you know, the physical contact for, you know, a 7th grader doesn't play box. That's a lot.
Sure.
But when you're in there and we're playing in Brentwood, it's a field small and there's a lot of contact.
Yep.
And she's comfortable with it. So, you know, when you look at the evolution of the game and the stick skills, and now girls really doing a phenomenal job of playing shoulders down, where years ago it was very mechanical.
Right.
You know, being able to manipulate the mesh sticks now that are a huge part on the women's side. And I've done it with my Stony Brook team a lot. I know Gary does it a lot with the Syracuse.
Yeah, Reggie was a big part of that.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
To answer Tom's question in short,
Yeah.
do it and stick with it and stay dedicated to it and just make sure it's being taught correctly.
You have your girls using boy sticks or girl sticks?
Boy sticks.
Gotcha.
Boy sticks, full gear.
Just so they can do more with it?
Yeah,
and
just so it's a
create
little bit more. They can
Yeah.
absorb the contact. Because
Yeah.
the ball, you know, with the amount of contact, it's not designed for that. And it actually, you know, it's really.
Well, when you watch the game now, the girls' game, and I noticed it, like Ryan Gick at Bayport,
Yep.
he uses a ton of box principles in running his offense. And some of them are just like almost like phony slips, phony picks, and the kids are unbelievable and tight because they play a lot of box.
Yep.
So it helps their game.
Oh, it's tremendous. And our kids, dude, you know, they're really dedicated. You have to stay dedicated to it. We went to a tournament, all-girls tournament, which I was transitioned. So now, guy Steve Holmes played for me with the Lizards, and Kevin Crowley plays on the wings.
Runs Fusion, right?
Yeah, and they run Fusion. So they actually have started with our help, and Roy Colsey. We all know Roy Colsey,
well.
right? So Roy runs Superstar, which is a combination of some clubs up in the Connecticut area, and then we have, you know, my group, right? And then there's Fusion, and then there's Penlax, which is like the Malvern area kids.
Sure.
So we had a 4-team tournament a couple of weeks
Nice.
ago with all girls, and it was awesome, you know. So it was.
Were your girls looking for more contact?
It's phenomenal. We were very physical. We were very physical. We were playing with boys, you know. So they're like, they go in, and a lot of the girls, like our first year playing box, it was like our kids weren't expecting the contact. You try to prepare them,
Sure.
and all of a sudden it was like a car wreck, you know. And they were like, "Wow," they were all over the place, and I'm like, "All right, you know." But now it was the other way around because the other girls that we're playing against weren't expected. So a girl comes through the middle, and and the refs tell you cross check. You know, you're not allowed to slash.
Right.
You know, you're not really allowed to throw check. Like you gotta cross check, and you gotta be, you know, physical on hips, and but it teaches them how to play positioning, how to play, just how to operate in the 2-man.
Sure.
And my boys too, like Crush kids. You know, everyone knows those guys. That's all we played growing, you know, with those kids growing up because it was extra training.
Sure.
And they wanted more, you know, and they're all freaks. Those guys. They would do
How
anything.
young were they when they started with you?
I had that entire group from the time they were 6 years old. Joey was a touch over 4.
He must have been like a bobblehead.
Yeah, he was. I have pictures like you. I want to send them to you guys. You will laugh. Like I had an orange helmet. It was like, and his body was underneath it. It was like, you know, the guy Mario Brothers, like that. But like that was. But those guys, Brendan O'Neill,
Xavier.
Aiden, Mac, Xavier, like that attack's pretty good, right? Like Joey Mac and Joey Aiden and Joey
McAdory,
X and
Denenza.
McAdory, Denza, Brett Martin, who's at Hills,
Yep.
Tyler Cortez, Connecticut. And our defense, Lacalzi, Kikamo, Schertzer, you know.
I forgot Lacalzi was on that team.
Yeah, he's pretty good too.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
You know, so that's the dream team, though. I say it all the time. Like those kids were, but we had them together for ever.
Yeah.
You know, so like we were running 3 or 4 different defenses, offenses. Like there's
Oh yeah, you guys were running different zones at in 7th grade.
yeah. You
Yeah.
know, so
I was watching your team once at like a fall tournament with a couple college coaches, and they're like, there are college teams that literally don't do this. Like
crazy.
you just run man up plays, offense. They're like, this doesn't happen. Even
It's
Division
good
I
though because
level.
lacrosse is a sport though that you can learn from youth coaches, really good youth coaches.
Yeah.
Hockey's that way too.
Oh, I agree. And those kids, like the kids used to joke, they're like, we should just all go to a college together
To
see
win
if
a
we can win a
national
national championship and all transfer wherever we want to go.
Go to
I'm like,
school that's never won one.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be some, you know.
Yeah, there's not as many options, unfortunately. Like,
No.
for example, in the girls, it's like, let's go to USC. Let's all go there.
Right, let's
Like,
all
you
go
know,
out to
let's-
California.
Yeah, let's go to Oregon. Yeah,
It's true.
not as much on the boys.
What do you think of the whole growth thing? And I mean, obviously you're a girl, you're a women's coach,
Yep.
but like it hasn't expanded because it's basically Title IX, right? Why they haven't expanded?
So this is interesting. I full disclosure, I actually was one of the original candidates for the USC job. So I was right in there till the end, and the guy Mark Jackson, who's now the AD at Villanova, was running the search. So him and I had spoken, and one of their goals was to have men's and women's lacrosse at SC.
Oh, really?
And they were waiting. They were trying to get a couple other schools to hop in because, like anything, if you're out there and you have to fly to every single game, or someone has to fly to you
Sure.
for every single game, it's very difficult. You know, I hope that there's a time soon when it expands because, you know, again, doing the research when I was in the mix there, that there are more high schools playing lacrosse in California than New York.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about that, that's pretty wild. You know,
Sure.
you would think, oh, no way, you know, but, you know, it exists, and the talent level it's insane across the board. I mean, these kids are just so good now.
They
Wherever
can
you
play,
go,
they can play 12 months a year outside.
yeah,
It's like Florida.
it's
Remember you
unbelievable.
talking to a Florida guy? They have 200 schools.
Yeah, they have over 200 high school programs. I was comparing that to Long Island. I was like, well, there's maybe a little less than 100 on the boys' side in Long Island alone, which, you know, it's a lot considering the geographic landscape. But, like, the fact that there was about 5 years ago, probably 25 high schools in Florida, like, that's huge growth.
I think
I'm curious, like, you guys are dominating Long Island right now, especially on the recruiting side of things. But is it going to get to a point where you're like, hey, like maybe let's become a little more national of an approach?
It's really interesting because I've had that, and I told my, you know, I was like, let's look for the, you know, regardless. And culture is, like you said it before, it's such an important. Like we got, like there's something in our locker room that is just so Long Island, and it's so natural.
Yeah,
and it's just different. And not that we would ever, like, we have our first big time kid coming in from the Skywalkers down in Maryland.
I heard about this. Tell the story about this young lady.
Yeah. What's going on there? You got a Maryland girl?
And we're excited. We're like, and like the things that attracted her to us was that we weren't like the schools down there.
Right.
Like we had a little, you know, something to us, and
Well, F
we
you.
were cool, you know, we were out there. We were maybe a little brash and maybe not endeared by everybody. And like, she was like, yeah, I like that. Her
Yeah.
dad's a football coach. He's an AD down there, and it's a public school kid, like tough. I love this kid. She's going to be really, really good for us. So I wouldn't say we have a Philly kid coming in next year. I just think that we have a Texas kid coming in next year too, who's
Really?
who's really, and it's funny because she super talented. She's going to be a very good player, Kaylee. She was attracted to us, because of that super team we had a couple years ago. And Kylie became this national phenom, and it just like her dream school for a kid in Texas was Stony Brook.
Yeah, so cool.
And how cool is that? At
That's
the end
so
of the day,
cool.
you
That's
know,
awesome.
when I remember the first day I opened I walked into my office and at Stony Brook, I left at Delphi, and I was like, all right, we're never gonna lose. Been calling everybody out, and all of a sudden you got there, and I was like, oh my god. And I called my wife. I'm like, is the ink dry on that contract yet? Because this might be, this could be tough. But, we were able to, that transformation took place pretty quick when we get those kids a bunch of kids decided to transfer from Adelphi, which kind of helped us get it off the ground. And then, Jeannie and Hilliard transferred from Florida when her sister Kim was my assistant, who still is my assistant. She's great. Kim's the best.
She was my favorite player when my daughter was growing up.
Kim
You
Hilliard?
could tell Kim that. When she was at
She'll
Hofstra.
love that.
Loved the way she played.
She's great. She doesn't change a bit. That's what I love about her. So,
Daler, isn't she a Daler?
yeah, she's a Daler. Yep. Yep. So it's been good. So we love, we just want to have great players, but I think also it's interesting, right? We're changing, like we're like national now, right?
Sure.
So there's a different player that's attracted to us.
Yeah.
But the tricky thing is, what's our identity, and does it change who we are? And now do we morph into something that didn't get us to where we are?
Right.
So it's like, not that we would shy from that, because we always feel like the room can overpower anything, right? So, but it's something, it's a factor, and when you're really thinking about.
Yeah, it's kind of like, if you think about it, Duke became a national power in hoops, and then all the one and dones happened the last 10 years, and Coach K stayed away from it for the first 3 or 4 years, and then he's like, well, I can outcoach Coach Calipari. Why am I letting him get him? And now, last year he had three guys in the top 7 in the NBA draft.
Yeah.
So it's just making sure that they fit Joe Spallina's team.
Right. They got to have those characteristics regardless of where they're from. They just got to love it. Like the things we were talking about. Yeah. They got to be gritty. Like kids that are just going to be. And I say it to my team every day. So, and it's just where my kids laugh all the time when I say it. Like, give me a team of tryhards.
Yeah.
And the kids make fun of that in gym class. You try hard, and but give me a team full of tryhards. I tell my sons that all the time. Like, you watch my son Joe; he's the biggest tryhard on the field.
Yeah.
He, in his mind, he's not the most talented. He's got to work harder than everybody else, and he's got to grit you. And you watch Allie Kennedy, right? One of the best players in the country. She is the hardest working kid you could ever. I actually have to protect her from her. Like I have to. You're going to stand next to me this drill, because she'll. She goes nuts. She doesn't stop. So it's that part is what makes it fun, though.
It's just finding those kids, and they're all over the place. You mentioned public school Maryland. That was the difference, not private school, and that's where you get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's why he's going to. I'm going to follow that young.
Coach Tills and I have that conversation all the time.
Private, public.
Yeah.
Oh, we have it all the time. I mean, Long Island's a little different, just because the parochial kids are like public school,
right?
But if you go down to Maryland, completely different. They're paying a completely different fee.
It's different. It's definitely it's different, and it's I think it's interesting now watching assistants move around on the college and the men's side, and just the recruiting philosophies shift, which is always interesting to watch that.
Give me your non-conference. I just want to know who your non-conference this year.
It's pretty good. So we open up Syracuse in the Dome, then we go Ohio State home. Then we have Florida on the road. Then we go Towson. Then we go Princeton. Then we go Stanford. The order is then we go USC, then Stanford, Johns Hopkins, and Hofstra.
Stanford's, I think, on a Friday night, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
is that right?
Place, yeah.
I want to bring the girls to that game and play at halftime.
That would be awesome.
I talked to Kylie about that. I want to bring our girls, our 27s, and have them play. I'm going to try to get Carol to bring hers 27s, and we'll play at halftime.
That'd be sick.
Let's do it. Get them. We do autograph signing after every game, posters.
That's awesome.
And that's one of the nice things. When I took the position at Stony Brook, I wanted to be Long Island's team, but I wanted the young girls. Like, I have daughters. There aren't enough really great, positive female role models. And I wanted to create that for the kids on Long Island, to a sport that is Long Island. So we went out of our way into the grassroots, getting into the community, having our players connect with people,
right?
Spend the extra time signing autographs, take the extra pictures, take the extra stuff. And our kids, we had the Kylie bobblehead night.
Sure.
I got to get you guys one of those. I still have a couple of them.
I raffled off at our Christmas party for fundraiser for Harlem. She signed it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was the biggest selling thing we had.
I got to get one for you guys just to hang out in here.
Yeah,
100%.
And so they had a Courtney Murphy T-shirt night, and now we have things planned this year for Taryn O'Miller and
that's a William Floyd Courtney Murphy, right?
Yes, yep. Brother played at Notre Dame.
Yes, Stevie.
Does that grassroots approach come from like your experience being a high school coach? You think?
I
just
think
like
so.
kind of like getting into the PAL, meeting the dads, doing all the little things that like are just completely underappreciated, but aren't
what?
important.
You see your kids, right? And like even my kids, and my kids have been spoiled. And I tell them all the time, like they almost don't realize, like they're around all these players with me with the Lizards, with Rob and Paul Rabel and you name it. We could go through all these players through the years. Well, you see the look in a kid's eye, and lacrosse is unique, right? Like, what sport can you get that close to the stars?
Yeah.
you know, like I always tell, this is the greatest story. We were in a Lizard locker room, and Jim Brown was in our locker room to give a pregame speech. And it's actually on YouTube. You can check it out. It's pretty neat. And I'll never forget my son Joey and Jack Schertzer, who Darren works with the Lizards with us, and Jim Brown was in the doorway. And I was in there. I was getting ready to address the team before we head out. And they were like, and it was like one of Rob's first games. So like, excuse me, they like basically like pushed Jim Brown out of the way to get around him to go see where Rob was, you know, but like, so if you look at it like through those lens, like my daughter thinks, you know, Kylie walks on water, and great, like give the kids need that, you know, so make our kids accessible,
right?
Make those young kids who come to our game. We have fans, like they're wearing Stony Brook Lacrosse stuff.
Yep.
You know, it drove me when I first got the position. It was like you go into stores and there was no Stony Brook stuff there.
Sure.
You know, now we have a following, we have actual fans, and
In the bookstore?
no, not in just in
in
regular
general.
lacrosse stores.
Oh, really? Like in Lacrosse Unlimited?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I used to love that about Lax World down in Maryland in Towson. They used to sell the college jerseys.
and they had those hats with you know.
I used to love that.
Yeah.
When he was a little kid, we used to go in there and spend like hours just like looking at all the jerseys.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Question came in from Kylie. What is the palms up emoji? What does that mean?
Palms
to you?
up. So
palm-
Kylie had this thing. So Kylie, she cares a lot. Like you talk about a kid and she used to be, you know, she wanted so bad that, so we used to have this thing where like, you know, like it was like just a way of getting her to relax, and it was like, hey, no big deal, you know, like, hey, oh well, you know. So, like she would like morphed into this big thing with her and I, and now even to this day, coaching her with the U.S. team, she'll hit like, you know, one of her circus act shots, and like the crowd, you know, the crowd goes ballistic, and she'll look at me and be like, yeah. So, but it like people don't know it was like our thing to like, you know, kind of.
She is such a great role model for the sport.
Oh, she's
tremendous
she's the
human.
best.
Unbelievable.
She's one of my, like, listen, I coached her, and to watch her, like, she's also one of my very, very good friends, and she's in my inner circle. Like, she's somebody that is really, really great. I watch all this stuff going on in lacrosse and the leagues and all this other stuff, and she is truly the best type of role model there is for young girls out there. She's a good egg. Don't let it go to your head, Kai.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kids love her.
She's incredible.
She's a goat.
She is a goat.
So I'm just kind of curious from your perspective. I just kind of find it interesting. Now you got 3 boys now in high school, right? You got 2 girls coming up, which is cool. But now that your boys are in high school, they're lacrosse players. You know, they're obviously really into the game. You know, what's maybe a couple things that you feel as though they can do to kind of help themselves now that they're about to enter that like recruiting process? Because I'm sure, you know, you've obviously gone through it recruiting girls. You know, you've gone through it at Adelphi, you've gone through it at Stony Brook. But now for your own kids, like, what are some things you feel as though they should be doing? Just kind of help themselves as opposed to like you helping them.
My own kids?
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the controllables. So the grades are a non-negotiable. So that's a lock, right? You know, because it doesn't matter.
Sure.
You know, lacrosse dries up really fast. So that's the first thing. The other thing is I think they've been privy to, you know, the whole recruiting process with my crush guys. Joey's been in this process forever because he's always been up with those guys. And they were part of the early recruiting, and then it died, and then they were back into it. So, you know, I think it's given them really good perspective. And it's got to be self-driven. You know, I do not. It can't come from me. And I told him, I'm like, I'm done. I played. It's over. And if you don't truly want it, it'll never be there. You know, so they're locked in. You know, and I think Joey obviously helped stir that drink and just understanding the importance of the other stuff. You know, he's up at the gym before school every day. That's not easy.
Yeah.
And he's the one pushing me out. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I got to get, you know. So now his brothers are with him. So they're all there. So in the morning, and they come home, they go to Revo Athletics, where they get their sport lift and speed workout. So most days during the week, they get 2 lifts and a speed workout in, and that's all on them. And a lot of times I'm not even home. I take them in the morning because that's our thing. You know, we're in the car in the morning, we're talking, we got and their schoolwork has been so much better because of the morning workouts, you know, so, you know, and then we have all the lacrosse stuff, but at the end of the day, like, they know they got to be as fast as they could be, they got to be strong as they could be, they got to be fit, and they got to be driven.
Sure.
You know, and I look at how they handle, last year they had that disappointing loss in the counties, and one of my twins was up on varsity for it, and I think they saw, my twins saw the disappointment and the setback, and they want to be part of the solution.
Right.
And I think that is, Joey had a special freshman year. He was, All-American, all Long Island, all that stuff. But like if you watched him on a daily, you would know. So because all he cares about is they lost the last game.
Yeah.
So I've never seen a kid more driven to avenge a loss. Now is he gonna? Who knows? Like, right? It's sports. Who knows? You can win a ball bounces here, ball bounces there.
Sure.
But to have that inner drive is something that's just, it's special. It is. He's just programmed a little different. Again, God rest Kobe Bryant, but that Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
I equate that to that approach in doing, approaching every day like you're not the guy. Like you haven't won a thing, you haven't done a thing.
Right.
I think he did a Q&A with you, and it was so sincere and it was honest. Like he's like, I don't care if I never score, I just want to win.
Sure.
And I think when winning drives everything,
Yep.
all the other stuff seems to work out. And I think that coincides with the type of kid that we recruit too. Like how important is winning to you?
Sure.
When your buddy scores a goal, how hype you. Like I watch film with my son, and we watch how he reacts when his buddies score.
That's awesome.
Like I don't care what you do when you score. Like,
yeah.
You're supposed, you act like you've been there. You've been there. Do the right thing. How do you react when Russ Marr sticks one in the top corner?
Yep.
Or one of your other teammates scores a goal, or one of your defenders runs the ball and clears it, and maybe gets the hockey assist and doesn't get all the love. So like those are all parts of being, a great teammate. And as a college coach, I know I want a hard worker who's a great teammate and obviously has a passion for the game.
It's funny. Last year, I got a call during the beginning of the recruiting season. It was a women's Division I coach, and she said, "I will not recruit so and so." And I go, "Why?" And she said, "They won the Long Island Championship. This particular team that this young lady was on, and all the kids from that particular team was going up and thanking the little girls that had come to support them. And there were 3 girls from the roster that weren't hanging out thanking these little girls. One of them was this high-level lacrosse player that was being recruited. And she said, I will not recruit that girl because I could tell she's not the type of teammate that I want on my squad." And I think that's really important in parents, because it starts with them.
Oh, yeah.
You and
You're
I
recruiting the parents as well. And
Yeah.
that's people have to understand. Like,
you must be doing that a lot, no?
It's part of it. And the nice thing is where I am is
You know most of the Long
everybody.
Islanders.
I know everybody. And there's some people who are like, "Oh, you're crazy." I'm like, I love that guy. Like, he'll be fine with me. Like, he's my bodyguard on the road. Like, so. But you do recruit parents, and that's why it's like interesting. I actually see it more when coaches come in from out of state, like from other colleges, and they watch, like, sit in the stands of like a Long Island like counties, and they're just like horrified, And I'm like, it's kind of
When we're riding the refs, you mean?
Oh, with everything, there's a lot of good coaches in the stands too, by the way. And
Yes.
refs. And
Yes. You like the new rules? You like the way the game's going?
The women's side?
Yeah.
Love it. The shot clock. The IWLCA has done such a great job of being aggressive and not sitting back and waiting.
Yeah.
And they've actually have jumped the men's side on everything, and the men are like, okay. Meanwhile, it would have been very easy. See, the men were very fortunate in a sense where they had the MLL to look at and be like, okay, that's what the shot clock looks like.
Yeah.
All right, so we could tweak this. We can maybe go to 80 and maybe no 2-point line. The women went on a whim.
Yeah.
They said they went on trust, and they said, okay, our game needs to improve. You want viewership. And, I've been talking with Timmy Mullins, who's the AD at Bayport.
Yeah.
A Delphi guy as well. And we've been working on a presentation for New York State. And New York State
Shot clock?
Yeah, and New York State is in support. And I told Timmy, I said, anyway, if you need a spokesperson on the men's and women's side, I could be that.
That's fantastic.
And Timmy's went up. He just recently went up again. And it's something that looks like it's going to get pushed through, hopefully, by next season.
That's amazing. I mean, like, to be able for these young girls to prepare themselves just to play at that pace and with the rules, I mean, what that could do potentially for a team like you can just insert a girl who's used to it, like, must be tremendous. Any tournaments that are out there where girls can kind of get that experience, or not really? It's really like you're just
No, and
jumping
that's
in.
disappointing. I say this all the time on the boys' side too. Like, I would like to see college recruiting tournaments played with full college rules, shot clock included.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see how a kid handles 15 seconds left of the shot clock. You know, a panic or you know, you want to see some of those situations because at the end of the day, you know, it's something where, okay, you know what, you can see how a kid handles the pressure.
Yeah.
You know, so that would be a good idea to run a tournament with
I think we should create
a
something.
shot clock.
Let's do it.
2-point line.
100%.
You like the 2-point line?
I love it.
Yeah.
As a game changer. So it's such. First of all, it takes away some of the zones.
Okay.
Because you have guys that could stretch it. And it adds just a different element. Like, you got to go out and defend that, or you could hit it. The game's really never over. You know, with the MLL, it was always like at a distance where the guy had to hit a good shot or a busted ride.
Yeah.
You know, you get somebody caught on a 10-man and you can hammer a long shot in. I think the 2-point line will be at some point added.
So I'm thinking off the field stuff for a sec. So if there's a player that you're interested in, let's say she's a local girl, she's on the island, like, who are you talking to that you trust to be like, you know, what's she really like as a teammate? Like, how hard is she working on a daily basis? Like, what are her habits like? What's her family like? Like, how do you kind of approach that aspect of recruiting?
That's a great question. I think one of the things you do is you talk to the club coach, but to me, more or equally as important, or maybe more important, is to talk to the high school coach, because the high school coach sees the real person. Yeah. You know, like, not the horse and pony show walking through a door. You know, this is the kid, how the kid acts. You know, are they late to 7th period every day? What are they doing in phys ed class? You know, are they what kind of, you know, how do they treat the kid who maybe isn't an athlete and is, you know, like, that's the person, because that's the person. Listen, when we're playing lacrosse, they'll be with me, but the other 22 hours out of the day, that's the real person you're recruiting. And I'm not sure enough coaches spend time on that behind the scenes thing. Yeah, I'll watch a kid, do they carry their equipment bag? Does mom do it? Sure. How do they talk to their parents? How do their parents talk to them? Yeah. If they're doing that kind of stuff in public, you can only imagine what's going on, you know, behind the scenes. Sure. You know, how are they with their little brothers? Yeah. You know, how do they celebrate when their teammate scores? You know, when they make a mistake, do they look, or they just play? You know, they're looking at their parents, they're looking in the stands, are they looking at their coach? You know, I always tell people, it's like, I watch my son play, I go down the ends with the high school. I am so lucky because Luke and Harold are great coaches, awesome dudes. I talk to them all. They're the greatest guys. So, like, I always laugh. Everyone's like, oh, you know, you got a special earpiece in Joey. I'm like, he don't need me. Like, he's fine. And, like, one of the best things was to go to his varsity games, and he never looks in the stands. Yeah. Like, and I love that. Like, he don't need me, and he knows he doesn't need me. He can figure it out and just play. Players play, you know? So, like. But
he has a smile on his face because he loves the sport. And that's something that you don't see with a lot of these kids. You see a lot of these kids doing this when they get yelled at or they do something wrong. They look into the stands, and you go, dude, no one's recruiting you if you're looking into the stands.
No, and coaches, you know, like, coaches, those are the things we look at. Like, we're not just, oh wow, that kid, great shot, you know, great step down. You know, it's like hockey assists, hustle plays, you know, reaction to adversity, like, because there's adversity, you know, and, like, how do you handle that is a big factor.
You talk about turnovers a lot in your house?
Turnovers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We don't turn the ball over. Self-inflicted wounds, we call those. No good.
That was, like, our biggest conversation growing up, right, Gar? Like to me, a great, like, his best games in college, and he was an ex-attackman. Sometimes he didn't have a lot of points, but he had the hockey assist because he drew that first slide.
I chart those.
Oh, do you?
I chart those with my Stony Brook team. I chart them with
that.
my son. My son and I break film down. We always, who had the hockey apple?
That's awesome.
Because that's the guy who made the goal. You know? Like, so we chart those. I think those are so important. I don't think enough, like, coaches put emphasis. I would love to see lacrosse make that a stat. Yeah. Because I think it would.
We would
just
add that to our website in a second.
Yeah, I mean, that would be
so
be
important.
really, really good.
Yeah,
so important.
But, you know, like, lacrosse, I tell all my teams this. Like, lacrosse is not that difficult of a sport. People try to make it very difficult. If you don't beat yourself, you don't turn the ball over, you pick up ground balls, you're going to be in the game. Yeah. Now, you're going to have to make a couple plays to win it, but most of the time you're going to be in the game, you know, assuming you don't.
I love the way you ride. What's your philosophy? Because you guys are like, you're like the gnats on those bad summer days.
That's a non-negotiable riding. And I talk about it with every team that I coach, if you're an attackman and you don't ride, you
don't
can't
play.
play for me. You just can't. It's not personal.
Yeah.
You know, if you watch our Crush kids, they ride like their pants are on fire.
Yeah.
My Stony Brook kids, you know, Courtney Murphy tore ACL on a ride against Northwestern 3 feet from me, giving me everything she had. You know, Kylie, if you watch Kylie ride, you know, and then if you have attackmen, they have really good IQ, right? Like most attackmen, if you're a good attackman, so if they really put their head to riding, it's worth 2 a game, minimal.
Yeah.
You know, it's worth 2 a game. You're going to read a play, and you're going to try to read a play of a defenseman, and your IQ is probably a little bit more advanced because you're...
You got the skill to pick a pass off.
You see
that
things
maybe-
ahead.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
You're the quarterback of the team.
It's funny. Someone literally just asked, like, how important is watching film, whether it's in high school, college, or pros? You know, you talk about literally watching it with Joey and breaking it down. I mean, talk about that, I guess, at the college level. Like, how much you guys watch film with your girls? And
So I like to watch. So we have different ways, and it's a long season. And there's some games where I'll break it down and tweak. There's some games we don't give scouts.
Okay.
And I'll coach the scout. So I'll coach our team to morph into things that they do where our team's perception is it's all about us, best version of us, but not realizing that it's tweaked to maybe shifting this to that. They have a righty that does this. You know, they play a zone and we do this. But there's different levels of watching film, right? Are you watching it as a fan? Are you watching it for, you know, to me, I think there are a lot of different ways, next level film watching. Are you watching a defenseman's footwork? Are they busy above goal line? Are you a counter puncher as an attackman? Okay. How are you attacking that defender? Is it a defenseman that's going to be aggressive and you can go off of what they're doing, or is it a guy that's going to stay patient and maybe you're the one that has to be a little bit more physical to get to your spots and to kind of goat them into to bait them into doing something that they don't want to do. So I think with us, our Stony Brook team, we watch small clips, not a ton, because I feel like that's one of the things it's. We focus on being the best version of us, because a lot of times teams watch so much film that they morph their team into something that they're not.
Yeah.
And now at the end of the day, maybe you could have won that game, but you changed everything that you do to fit what Team X was doing, and now you lost.
And you can change yourself every week if you get caught up with that, right? Because every team plays, especially with your schedule, like you're going to go down and play Cuse. They might be kind of like you. You're going to go down and play Florida. It's a track meet. You know, you go out west, you play Stanford, and they're more like quick, fast, like quick decision making. I agree. I like that philosophy, especially with your team, because like you have that, just kind of that like undescribable, like culture that can't really be replicated. It's like, why not play into that and just be even stronger?
And then you know what we've done too is like you almost use your film and your scout as part of your halftime adjustments. You go out the first half to be you, right? And obviously tweak to what they're doing. And obviously, if you know you're playing Florida and they got, you know, Rombeck, Pareka, and you got to be able to shift and be heavy in those zones. Yeah. So we play a lot of zone. You know,
backer? You play backer?
Yeah, we play like a hybrid backer where there's parts of it where we play man, parts of it we morph into a zone depending on where their danger is. So it's actually pretty intense. You would enjoy it because it's like we played Maryland a couple years ago and we held them to a small amount of goals, and we played all man up top and then slid into a zone when it went behind goal line, and it really gave them fits, you know. But you know, that's a great example of a team that doesn't beat themselves. She does such a good job there. Those guys, they're so efficient, so disciplined, smart, heady, you know. So, but I made that mistake with the scout a couple years ago against Florida. They tweaked everything. And then we were like we weren't us, and all of a sudden we're down like by a touchdown.
When you travel, because you guys travel a lot. I mean, you guys play everybody. When you travel like that, do you try to go play 2 teams in a weekend? Is that what you do?
We do. I try to create a little adversity in our schedule too. I
think the playoffs, because you know in the playoffs it's going to happen.
Right. So we have days when, you know, like the playoff, the NCAA tournament and our conference tournament is either Friday, Sunday, or Thursday, Saturday. So we try to create a lot of those scenarios within our schedule, where our kids get used to that. And we, as coaches too, you get like, oh, you know, I noticed we did this and this. This worked good. Let's change this. Maybe we get into the hotel earlier, or, you know, whatever it is, depending on where we are. But it's been something that is a factor in college athletics.
Do you have a travel agent?
We do. We have to.
That must be your best friend.
That is our best friend, especially this year we have 2 flights. Next year we have 2 flights. Next year we fly. This year we fly California and Florida. Next year we are. Where are we next year? Next year we're at Ohio State and Michigan. So those are our 2 ways next year.
No neutral games yet. It's not.
No.
It'd be cool to do like a neutral game, like at the Dallas Star.
Yeah, or where the Red Bulls play. That'd be kind of cool. Do a
That would be
game at, like,
actually
MLS
next year. We're
Stadium.
playing Denver. That was the other flight we had because
sweet.
Ohio State. We're playing Denver in Texas
You are.
Texas?
at SMU.
Get out of
Sweet.
here.
Yeah,
That's gonna be sick.
you know Bryce Queener is the assistant coach. That's Brett Queener's brother. I don't know if you know Bryce. He's
No, I don't know.
the Queener family.
He's at Denver.
He's at Denver, so he helped put it together, and we're gonna go down there and play a neutral site
See,
game.
to me,
We'll have to fly down and cover that.
that helps grow the sport.
right?
You know, by doing that, by getting Stony Brook and Denver down to Texas.
Let's talk about that. Like, what would you like to see from a media perspective in terms of coverage of high school and college girls lacrosse? Like, what do you like that's out there? What's stuff that you like to see more of?
And I'm not just saying. I've said this to you guys countless times. Like what you guys are doing is phenomenal. As a college coach,
I appreciate it.
it's phenomenal because it's like such a great resource.
Sure.
And I think what you do a really good job of as well, and you know this already, but I'm going to say it out loud for everybody. It's like you involve so many different kids,
Sure.
and I think that's important for these kids, you know, to be driven by that. And then as a parent, the detail is really cool.
Yeah.
You know, our kids get hyped. Like they want to see what comes out, and it's debated and it's talked about, and that hasn't existed before you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, people kind of maybe dipped their toe. Nobody ever has dedicated themselves to that. You know, and I was like, your article just came out with the top midfielders. I sent to my AD. I'm like, look at this. We got 2 in the top 10. You know, and he's all hyped up, and he found it because his daughter now just started playing travel, and he
awesome.
he lived in Texas. Then he was the AD, associate AD at UCLA, and then Oregon State, and now here. So when he got the job here, he's like, Joe, it's Sean. I'm like, he's like, you're my guy. He goes, you know, you got to teach me about this lacrosse stuff. So if you ever meet him, if you guys are
What's
out
his
to a
gentleman's
game,
name?
Yeah, we got to
Sean Hilburn.
Yeah, we'll come out and introduce ourselves.
You would, I mean, this guy is he's
well,
fantastic.
we're going to be running an event during PLL weekend. We're doing a boys and girls youth tournament the day of the PLL
perfect.
games.
He'll be there.
Cool.
He'll be there. His daughter Quinlan plays, and he's just like a ball of him and I have been like, he's a ball of energy, and he's like so fired up.
Dude,
and
Stony
into it.
Brook has made like I mean, obviously you guys, but like your hoop team's been good, your football team's been good. You know, it's exciting to have like a Long Island team on the national stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's neat. And that's all boss. Like if you meet this guy, you'll be like, oh, that's why. I mean, like it's infectious. Like he's just energy and fired up all the time, and
Love it.
and he's good. Like he came flying to my office like, how we look? I'm like, you know, we're getting there.
When are you
know?
playing Cuse? What's the day?
February 10th.
So
It was supposed to be the 9th. It got moved. They're having a lot of construction in the dome. It's a Monday,
It's a Monday.
10th, which is actually pretty neat this time of the year because it's a Monday night, and
Monday night.
everybody will be watching it. You have 2 top 10 teams. So, you know, I think we're 12 in one poll, whatever. 2 top teams in the country, teams that play entertaining style.
Where can we watch it? Just streamed on the
I think that might be an ESPN3 game.
We're gonna put an article out about it, and we'll just put it in our newsletter. We'll let everyone know where you can watch it online.
Yep.
So we'll put all the platforms that can be watched.
That's a good idea.
And we'll just make sure everyone knows in the.
That's a good
our whole
idea.
database.
That's a good idea. You just gave me an idea for all the local, for Adelphi, for Hofstra.
Exactly. Where can you watch the girls' college programs?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fast.
because that's
would be
one
good.
thing. I mean, we talk about it. I brought this up because like we would love to start covering more of like your program. Like we love the high school stuff's great. We're gonna double down on all that because it's great, the kids and all that, and like top players. But I mean, we want to cover you guys too, because like, you know, why not get you guys more fans? Why not get you more viewers when you go? Because like what's happening in the girls game is freaking amazing.
We
What
just
you
met
guys
with
are
the guy
doing
who started
is driving
ESPN
forward.
100 for hoops
Yep.
and ESPN 300 for football, and we were learning, and we wanted to learn
Yep.
because we're doing it for little old Long Island, so to
Right.
speak, and we want to do it the right way. And what's the right way? Well, the right way is getting everybody's opinion.
Right.
Because it's not just our opinion, it's everybody's.
Right.
It's Ryan Gick's opinion and Carol Rose's opinion and Danielle Castellan's opinion.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And everybody's opinion, and then you're going to have a much better product when you have everybody's opinion.
Yeah, and they all, everything will kind of overlap, and you kind of have a better, clearer picture of exactly what it is.
Exactly. Yeah,
and we want to see everybody play. Like, I haven't seen the great Sayville girls.
Yeah, you got some good ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen Della Cave play. Like,
Yeah.
that bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, that bothers me. I stay up at night going, I got to see this kid play.
Just slick lefty.
Yeah. And there's a lot of kids like that on
Yeah.
the island that you don't know about.
Yeah.
So you want to get that. And so we tell parents, we don't care. Send us it.
Yeah.
We'll go watch them play. Send us film. We'll watch it.
Yeah.
It's all good. So we have about 2 minutes left here. We always like to, I guess, leave it on. Yeah, what's maybe one piece of advice a guy or girl kind of going, love lacrosse, they're into it, maybe they're approaching or in the thick of their recruiting process. What's something maybe you preach to some of your own girls, to your own kids that might be just kind of like just a core thing that you believe in that's really helpful?
I think controlling the controllables, like the stick work that's paramount.
Yeah.
To us, if you watch the sticks of our kids, like you have to be super slick. Like you got to put the time into your stick, and then, so that to me is one of the biggest things, right? So your stick's got to be dialed in. You got to have a really good skill set. The fitness component is really big.
Yeah.
One piece of advice I would give kids going from high school to college is go to a college game local even and sit close to the field.
Sure.
And see the
idea.
speed, the intensity, the fire, and try to bottle that.
Mm-hmm.
And in June and July, when your buddies are going to the beach and you got tough decisions to make, that you're like, you know what, I'm going to do this. And the gym component is huge, like, because the lifts, the speed, the balance, that's why I feel really good. I try to get my kids, like, that's what happens in college, right? You have to be able to run.
Yep.
You got to be able to lift. You're going to be practice. And then you got to do what you came there to do is to crush the classroom too, right? So your grades got to be on point. So being able to get acclimated to that balance of all the things that are expected.
Yeah.
Because being a student athlete is not an easy thing.
Yeah.
I know a lot of coaches try to, it's not easy. It's great, but it's not easy.
Sure.
And there's times when it's tough,
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's finding the right fit and maybe not going to the right place, not going to a place because, you think it's, because they got a great football team.
Sure.
Listen, I always tell kids, I bust kids' chops all the time. I'm like, I've decided to go there. I'm like, yeah, that would be great. Are you going to be the quarterback or a wide receiver? Because if not, then you should come play for me because we're going to beat that team 5 times, and they're like, oh, coach, that's funny. I'm like, I'm not laughing. But, I think that's the thing is for kids to really think through the process and understand you're going in to play lacrosse.
Right.
Football's awesome because that's what happens a lot of times. They bring these kids in, these recruits.
Yeah. One of the 4
football
weekends.
weekend. Yeah, one of the 4 weekends. What do you do the other, the other weekends?
362 days a year.
Right,
That is their that's their sell pitch.
Yeah, and like come to one of our games. We have fans. Like our fans show up for lacrosse. Not,
And you're going to be the one on everybody's room for.
Right, you're going to be the one on the poster. The front of the poster.
Yeah, it's so true. No, it's great. I love that. I love the idea of like getting up close and personal because we see all the time like our best vantage point of watching a high school game is we get to sit in the box sometimes and just see kids flying through and substituting, coaches how they interact, how kids respond to like coaches getting in their face, and like you learn so much about
it. Is
athletes.
the best.
Yeah,
I love that. It's
The
in
box,
the trenches.
the box is the greatest place to watch a lacrosse game.
In the trenches. I used to say the MLL box was like Vegas. Like one went on, and heads were spinning. I remember my first game, my first time as an assistant, they asked me to run the box. So I was the D coordinator and running the box. I was exhausted when the game was over. I had Steven Pizer around the waist, holding him back. He's running out into the field. I'm like, it was like a car wreck, and there's screaming, there's fights in the box. The box is fun. You're right. I'm with you.
Yeah, I love the interaction.
That's awesome. Well, Joe, we appreciate you coming on, man. This was great, and good luck in your opener. We're gonna be blasting it out. Make sure everyone knows about it.
It'll be fun. Our troops will be ready. It'll be a good trip up there.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be.
Going
All right,
to
we'll
the
see. We'll see you guys next week. We'll be live midday. We're bringing on Andy Lockwood. He's got an amazing college prep company, which is really cool. So anyone that's going through the recruiting process, you probably want to tune in. So we'll see you guys next week.